everybody to this session today. I'm so happy you could join and make it. As said, my name is Anna Maria Steidler, but Anna is just fine. I'm a business enterprise consultant at SAP with the Business Transformation Services organization here, focused on retail and consumer products. And I'm also a consultant in the controlling area. So I've been with the company for about 2.5 years, so not that young anymore, but still very happy I could join today and host this panel. Yes, but as said, today is not about me. It's about those amazing panelists I have with me today. And I think we should just go ahead and start. Maybe you can shortly introduce yourself. Catherine, should we start with you?
Indeed. Hello everyone. My name is Catherine Kyne and I am the Early Talent Recruitment Manager here at SAP. So hello from Galway in Ireland, where I'm currently based. I have been with SAP now for about 13 years and I manage a team of early talent recruiters and also campus recruiters in the Germany and DACH region. So a little fun fact about myself. I lived in Australia for 7 years, and during my travels back home, we traveled from Thailand to Ireland by land, which was really an amazing experience. It took us 8 months to do it, and to really experience so many different cultures and so many different countries. It was something that I really enjoyed.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Over to you, Stefan.
Hello, greetings from beautiful Munich, Germany, to all of you attendees. My name is Stefan. I'm currently studying here at the Technical University, and I'm taking part in this training and rotation program called STAR from SAP. And my fun fact is that I'm currently addicted to a very strange book series called Discworld, if anybody knows it. It's a very humorous fantasy book series by a British author called Terry Pratchett, and it's about a world that's a disc on 4 elephants, which in turn are on a giant turtle, which is floating through space. So if you find that funny, I recommend you the series. It's 41 novels, so get into it. That's me. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Stefan. So not only recommendations how to get in at SAP, but also book recommendations. Great. Rico, why don't you go next?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. This is Rico speaking. Yes, also many greetings from the nice town of Heidelberg. I'm currently living. I'm 24 years old. I live in Heidelberg, and I'm currently working student in the value experience team. We're responsible for the customer experience and especially for our experience centers at Waldorf, where we welcome our customers to show different showcases and show how SAP can help different companies to ensure a really, really nice day-to-day business. Fun fact about me, besides my studies, I also brew beer. I have a little startup with local brewed beer, and we distribute it in Edeka and Rewe, and it makes lots of fun, and it's a really nice, another choice of working as a student.
That's great. So if you're living close to that area, maybe you need to watch out when you go grocery shopping for Rico's beer. Last but not least, we have Julia with us.
Hi, happy to be here. I'm Julia. I am sending some hearty greetings from Worms in the Pfalz. And I am a working student in the HRBP PE team. So these are a group of HR business partners where I assist with their people analytics and other supporting activities. I'm actually originally from New Jersey. You might hear that from the accent here. And maybe a couple fun facts about me. I actually love raising chickens as a hobby. Unfortunately, I don't have any in Germany right now, but that is my ultimate dream. And fun fact about where I come from in New Jersey. So I'm from the small town of Denville, and the Jonas Brothers, who are quite famous, actually lived there for quite a few years because Kevin Jonas's wife is from the same town as me.
I didn't know that. Another fact I've learned. That is great. So I'd say thank you all for the short introduction. Let's get right into it. And Julia, why don't we stay with you? So coming from New Jersey to Germany, how did you end up here and how did you end up at SAP? Could you give us a little insight into that?
Yeah, sure thing. So I actually did my bachelor's in Germany. I was at the Hochschule Reutlingen, where I was studying international business. And part of our program is to complete a mandatory internship. And every year, about every semester, we have a career fair, and SAP was one of the partners of our university. So it was just through complete serendipity. I walk into the career fair. I had never even heard of SAP. I don't even have so much of a technical background studying business. And I found myself at the booth and just having a conversation with the representative. And we ended up having a talk with him for about an hour. And it felt like some form of connection where we just really understood each other. And I felt really comfortable. And this kind of made some form of mark in my mind about SAP. So when it came to the time that I had to start applying to internships, I always thought of SAP kind of like a goal, but I wasn't quite ready for it yet. And I had a couple of bad feedback from other interviews that I had done for internships. We all know the process of applying and getting denied. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to apply for SAP and I'll see what happens. And I had 2 interviews. And after my first interview, it felt like coming home in such a strange way. I just fit right into the culture. I got along so well with the team. And sure enough, I got that positive response that I made it in. So it was kind of a random journey, despite my background, but it worked out great and there's no looking back.
That's great. And I think we have a couple of people at SAP that have maybe not this right path that leads them towards SAP, but I think this is also super interesting. So maybe, Catherine, is that also something why you love working as an early career talent attraction lead? So you have so many different students, so many different backgrounds, the diversity we have, is that something that inspired you for this role?
It is indeed. And I suppose that's something that drives me in recruitment and for my personal passions. Because I suppose when we look at, what we call early talents is people with up to 3 years professional experience. So everyone in this call today, all you young professionals, we want to introduce you as SAP as a place that you can really start your career journey, feel welcome, feel included, and really to support and make yourself to grow and make a difference in the world. And it is very similar to what this event is. It's a way for us to show you what we do here in SAP. And there's so many different sessions that you can attend. But what I really enjoy most, I have to say, is having the opportunity to interact with candidates and be part of the journey. And in particular with the early talents, to understand what are your goals, what are your aspirations, and how can we match those skills with a role here in SAP. And we ran a training course there a few weeks ago, not long back, where for our students and interns, and what we actually called that was, it's like comparing your journey and your beginning journey to an early a date and trying to find a first date and really trying to find the right partner. And it is very similar because you're trying to find the knowledge and skills that you have and what is the partner that is best suited for you. So it was just a way to engage better and to take the nervousness out of interviewees and take the nervousness out of somebody that you will see at the end of your the interviewer. But at SAP, we really offer the amazing opportunities from so many graduate programs that we have for internships, the STAR programs. And these are opportunities for you to really understand, well, what area do you want to go into? How can I see what different areas that are within SAP that I can develop and grow on? And this is what we continue to do and we strive to do, is build on our early talent and how can we build and make the best early talent journey possible for your talents that are coming into the company.
Sounds amazing. So love at first sight, like for Julia.
Yes.
So you mentioned a few programs, for example, the STAR program, and lucky us, we got someone who's actually part of that STAR program. So Stefan, could you share a bit what the program is about and give us also some insights into your day-to-day work that you're doing here?
So the STAR program is something that originally was available only in Waldorf. And last year they started a cooperation here with the Technical University in Munich to also introduce this program here at the Munich location. And it's a 2-year program where you do your master's at the Technical University in either informatics, business informatics, or even BWL if you do a technical. So it has to be with a technical focus. And while you do your master's, you work roughly 20 hours on average. So 16 during the semester, 14 in the semester break, at different rotations here in the Munich Center for SAP. So every semester you change basically your department. So you get to experience a lot of different departments, you get a lot of knowledge. And there's even included an optional to do one rotation at an international location of your choice that you can apply for. So that's basically the program.
Thank you so much. And I think that also answers Peter's question that we have. Do you change departments regularly? That's a yes for the STAR program. And I think
yes,
that gives great insight. In the company as a whole, because I think SAP has so many areas that it's actually a really good start to get to know the different areas. So we have one more, Rico. You're also part of a program, the Fast Track program. So what skills do you have that brought you into this program? Maybe besides from beer brewing, which I still find very, very interesting. I would love to have that knowledge.
I think, as mentioned before, you do not have to have this IT background or also this technical background. So I have a technical background. I have my bachelor's degrees in informatics, but I think you do not have to have this. So now I'm in a customer experience part of SAP, and I think it's a part where you are really, learn lots of things with different customers and different types of customers, and you do not have to have this background in IT. Especially for the SAP Fast Track program, it's an internal program, so you're not able to join this outside of SAP. You have to apply at SAP, and if you are really a high performer student, you will be credited by the Fast Track program, so to say. And what does the Fast Track program offers to me? There are still amazing exclusive students events where you have the choice to learn something, but also to come together and also exchange with your students. You have better job opportunities at SAP. So you are known at SAP because you're in the Fast Track program, and especially for your resume, it's really cool to have this kind of paper where you have the SAP Fast Track program award. You have one contact for all consents if you have any problems, or you're searching for different jobs or opportunities or different internships. You have one contact where you are able to contact every time and get help and get solutions. And as I already said, you have this special certificate for your applications. I think that's in a nutshell the SAP Fast Track program.
That sounds great. And I think having, at least in a company like SAP, having a central contact is a great advantage. So you mentioned at the beginning that, you don't have that one education. There is not one path that leads you to SAP. Maybe Catherine, as working with young talents all the time, maybe you can add something to that. What do you look in for students? Are there any requirements that you would say they have to bring?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to say the background that I bring is actually a background in HR. So a lot of the time it is hugely beneficial, absolutely, if somebody has the background in IT, but business is also very important from a business perspective, for somebody to really understand from a business perspective what it is our customers need. How can we improve our customers? How can we make them better? I think that's very important. Another thing that I think would be a great thing to take an opportunity of is, to really network yourself and to be very open to the opportunities that come to you. And I always even say to my new starters and my team to brand themselves and to network and get to know as much as they possibly can in other departments. What do the other departments do? I always say we don't know what we want to be in years to come. We don't know where our careers are going to take us, but what we want to do is take as many opportunities as we can to grow and develop ourselves. If you're asked to be involved in projects, if you're asked to be involved in any calls, if you're asked to be involved in, getting to know other companies in what they actually do from a business perspective, I would just advise you take all the opportunities. be motivated to drive yourself forward and take on those experiences and try new things. So embrace everything that comes your ways, and this will help you strengthen and develop your career and get you better ready for when you find that right company.
That sounds fantastic. And I agree. I think motivation is one of the main parts or major parts that bring you forward, and that is highly valued here at SAP. So maybe let's stay on the topic of motivation for a little longer. What motivates you guys to work for SAP, do your daily job? I know, and if some of you who have joined our panel today know SAP a little bit, you know that we have or drink lots of coffee and have free lunch. So those are main advantages, I can tell you, for someone who cannot cook very well. But are there any other motivations? Enrico, I hope there are. Why don't you go into that a little bit?
Of course. Thank you, Anna. Especially in my team, we are really a project-based team, so we have different tasks at every time. So I think the next day is not the same day as today, because we have lots of different tasks and lots of different projects. And especially through our responsibility for the customer experience centers in Waldorf, I'm also looking forward to different customer meetings, to learn new things, dealing with customers, dealing with different stages of managers, of course. And I think that's a really, really nice way where I can motivate myself at every day. As well as the information that SAP is the largest Europe software manufacturer. I think it's also a really, really nice point that you're motivated for the really largest SAP software manufacturer in that day. I think, Anna, you already told it. We have also some highlights at SAP, I think so, especially now nowadays and during our COVID-19 pandemic, we are all working from home. It's not the same as working from the office, but I think SAP makes us really, really nice and really, really easy to work from home. And the second highlight, it's unfortunately we are not able to use this anymore because of COVID, but Anna told it, it's the really, really nice lunch and also our food hall at SAP, where you can eat some burger, also some pizza, and really, really nice baked pasta. I think that's also an highlight. But to sum it up, I think SAP offers you lots of benefits on different ways and different paths. And I think that motivates me, especially as a working student in the FastTech program every day.
Fantastic, amazing. And I knew that the lunch was compelling. I really knew. So Rico, Stefan, anything to add from your side, maybe besides what we've already heard so far?
So for me, I'm mainly interested in software engineering, which I also work in as a programmer, which I want to work in later. So what is really great is the vast areas of technology you can experience. For example, here in Munich, we have a very strong focus on cloud services, on microservices. So we have a lot of departments where you can really experience this firsthand, get your hands dirty, so to speak, with coding in this area. And if you look at SAP as a whole, it's not just the ERP system that you might know. There's a lot of different products that you can work on, a lot of different technologies. So this is, I think, a really great opportunity for software engineers to get into whatever area you want. I mean, you can find a machine learning area, you can work on databases, on HANA, you can work on cloud technology, whatever you want, you can find it at SAP. And the other thing is the team spirit. So I really loved when I joined here, you always feel like everybody answers whatever question you have, cares for you. You have the feeling that the company really wants you to succeed and supports it every way they can. So these are the two highlights I would say that I love at SAP.
Thank you so much. That is great. This is also something that I experienced from day one, so I can absolutely share that insight. Julia, what motivates you to work for SAP? But maybe also, did you have any challenges? Did you overcome them? Because I think it's not always rose and all good and great. But yeah, maybe you can share a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the challenges is trying to find the food hall in Waldorf because the campus is so big. And amazing ribs, by the way, that's definitely one motivator. So when you finally get there, it's definitely worth it because you earned it, that 15-minute walk from building 1 to the food hall. From my side, especially through the HR experience, what I like to know is that my work actually has meaning. So when I am working on a report or I'm doing an analysis about people data, it actually gets seen by the board in many cases. And as a student, I like to say a small student, I'm only 153 centimeters, but knowing that I have all that power, that I'm able to actually create something which is useful for high-level decision makers is not just an honor, but it's an amazing learning experience. So you get so many opportunities to learn at SAP, and you're encouraged to do so. Outside of that, it's also the CSR values of SAP. That's one thing that really attracted me when I first applied to the business in the first place. It's just knowing the ways that SAP gets involved in just making the world a better place. I think with the COVID epidemic, that's also a perfect example. Maybe some of you heard that SAP was directly working on the Corona Warn app. And I think for a lot of us, this has brought a lot of value. So it's more than just creating software for enterprises, but also just making the world a little bit better and run better. Outside of that, also the flexibility. So I can only just agree with what my fellow panelists said here today. I was doing home office way before the pandemic, so we were very ready to adjust, and the adjustment was actually quite small for us. So, and just knowing that like I have a place where I can grow and I have the freedom to grow, and the entrepreneurial culture is what I can really close on. And that's how I came to building the student community. The reason why I'm actually here today and was invited to speak is when I first joined as a challenge, there actually wasn't really a community that existed. It was a lunch group, which maybe met once a week to have a chat. But outside of that, there was no central opportunity to get to know students or connect students to different job opportunities. And for the last 2 years that I've been volunteering as a student lead, we have over 800 members now in our MS teams, which is amazing because they're all there on their own volunteership. And we're growing every day and getting new sessions. We even have one planned later this afternoon, internal, which has over 300 registrants, which is huge, especially because we're just volunteers. But that is something that you're able to be at SAP. And if there's something that you see here that you think could be better, you have the means to somehow make it happen. And that's really incredible in such a large company like SAP is.
Thank you so much. I think that was very inspiring. So I think we heard a lot about why SAP, I think, is a great place to work at as student or otherwise. So maybe let's turn a little bit towards the how do I get to SAP? And Catherine, then I'm going to turn to you. So do you have any words of wisdoms for the people joining us? Anything to uncover what it, what does it take, or how do you come and get to SAP? Anything you can share?
Okay, well, I think we'll share at the end, and I shared a few times how you can, to join our talent community and be part of an IXP in the different community. But some tips that I would share with you is, and I share this when interviews that I'm training interviewers, and I would give the same advice to candidates: prepare, prepare, prepare. The 3 very important words to really show that you've, to make yourself ready for that time when you're in that interview in front of your interviewer. And the other thing that I would say to you is, just because you're unsuccessful for your other application, we have many recruiters here in the business and we see many, many applications to our role. And please, just because you are not successful from your first application, don't let that dishearten you. Learn from your experience. And even if you get it successful for an interview the next time, learn from the experience of the interview and make yourself a better interviewee the next time. I applied to SAP 4 to 5 times before I was actually even successful in this job. And having said that, I actually just got a contractor role after those 4 times. So what I would say, my advice is prepare, prepare, prepare. And please don't be disheartened if you're not successful the first time. Keep on applying for your passionate roles that you are. Look at me, here I am 13 years later, and now I'm actually responsible for the early talent in the EMEA DACH region. So, be persistent for your passions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before I joined SAP, I also did an internship here, and I got declined a couple of times at other companies, but at the end it worked out fine, and I'm super happy to be here. So looking at the time, with 3 minutes left, maybe let's turn it to our panelists again, Julia, Stefan, and Rico. Are there any tips you would like to share with the group joining us today for the application process, what is important during the interview, or just some closing words you would like to get off your chest? Maybe Stefan, you would like to start?
Yeah, sure. So what I did is basically, you know your CV, right? You know possibly what questions could come up to your CV. So be prepared. And as Catherine said, write down maybe some answers you would have for common interview questions and just train with somebody, maybe make a mock interview, and just that you're prepared for everything. You can't be prepared for everything, but as good as you could get. And yeah, that would be my suggestion. Think about questions, think about answers, and then it will work out, I'm sure.
But I really like that you said, you know, your CV. I one time got the question that someone said, I know your CV, what else can you tell me about yourself? And that was really
That's
interesting. I
awesome.
needed a moment and was like, okay, you know my CV. Yes, that's right. Maybe Julia, anything to add from your side?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, what really brought me far was being authentic and being honest about myself, and especially my strengths and my weaknesses. Wasn't always perfect. The first time I applied and I got a call back for an interview, I missed it because I was in class. I went to call them back and I got the operator at SAP, and I actually have a fear of being on the telephone. So they answered in German. It scared me and I hung up. I actually hung up on SAP, and then I kind of had to gather the courage again and just call back and just solidify the interview, and all that nervousness just went away when I realized I can just talk to another person. And maybe it sounds a bit silly, but when you're at the very beginning and you're making your first phone calls for internships, it can be very scary. And you just need to know that you are okay as you are, and just to be yourself, because when it fits, it will fit. And you don't have to think everything that you're saying.
Perfect. Yes. Rico, over to you. Closing words.
Closing words, because we are running out of time. I think Julia and Stefan mostly covered everything I had in mind for tips for application. In my opinion, it's really, really important that you trust in yourself, that you be yourself. You do not have to play a role in your interview. You have your strengths and you have also your weaknesses, but at the end you are a person, you are a personality, and this is what it's worth about. And I think that's the most important point I can also add on, Stefan and Julia.
Thank you so much. That was great. So we're already, finished here, actually. So thank you all so much for joining and for sharing your experiences to the panelists. As said at the beginning, we have a poll. So if you would like to answer that, please go ahead. And yes, thank you so much for joining today. Thank you to all the panelists. I can only emphasize that again. If you have any questions, please let us know and we'll try to answer them all. And with that, I would say thank you and goodbye.